At any time, you can run a variety of reports in Priority on the service management, and this may be to assist with tasks like billing, or it may be to understand what's happening with the service management side. For example, you can actually even pick up data directly without even reporting on it. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run what's called the query generator. So what I'm interested in are all of those calls where the status is completed. And what that allows us to do is to pick up all of the service calls that have reached the completed status, which may be a status that we've defined in the BPM as requiring billing. You'll notice there are actually 12 records. Just a quick reminder, we're looking at the moment at a single record view. If I click on the multi-record view, you'll see all 12 of the completed calls. And I could drill into any one of these, return the screen to the single record view, and for example, prepare the invoice. And if this is in any way chargeable, then preparing the invoice would actually create the invoice itself, and the invoice has now been created. You can bill your service calls as a batch, but this is a nice quick way where you could find all those that meet certain definitions. Priority has a significant amount of reports to assist you in understanding the pile of data in the service management side. I'm just going to show you a few highlights. For example, I'm going to run a report of unbilled service contracts. I could filter this, as you can see, by customer or a number of other parameters, but I'm just going to run it, and there's one contract that we have yet to bill. And you could drill through into the contract and bill it from the report. Similarly, we can look not at service contracts but at service calls. So those calls that have been run, let's say this year, for example. Remember, not all of them will be under contract or warranty. There will be some that have got billable components to them. And this report, I've requested it by customer, but there are variations by item, by part, by a number of different criteria. But this is showing us exactly what remains to be billed from the service calls themselves. There are a raft of reports within the customer service side, not just about the billability or otherwise, as we've seen, but if we look at the scheduling, we could see the schedules actually printed out. If we want to analyze the technician's work, the hours that have been logged, the load between technicians, and how much work has actually been done, we can pick that up. Also, we can look at the malfunctions and analyze those by part, by serial number, by even weekday, but also some interesting statistics on how long it takes on average to repair items, how the length of time between failures on those items, and then information on the replacements as well. So there's a significant amount of reporting within the standard system. So let's go into the Service Manager dashboard, which gives a variety of charts that break down the data that we've been working on. You'll see at the top left a breakdown of the service calls requiring attention. In this case, by customer, instantly showing us that one of our customers is requiring a massively disproportionate amount of attention compared to the others. But we can see the breakdown by technician, by malfunction, by the number of days or hours it takes to repair, by groupings of customers, by parts, a number of different representations of the data. Similarly, we can look at the overall number of calls we're dealing with in the course of each month. Not very inspiring data, but you can see that we were a good deal busier in December than we were in previous months. We can look at it at an individual customer's workload. And if I pull up, for example, Stephen Burrell, you'll see the recast to the extent of the calls for him. And we can also see the technician's schedule, both graphically and by way of report. And in each of these representations, you have drill down. So we can actually click on any of the records in the dashboard, and that will take us right the way through to the source data. Priority also provides a Bianalysis, which is in effect a cube of all of the dimensions of data. So what we can see here is a drillable set of information about service calls. If I drill on the initial parameter, I can, for example, break down the calls between customers, and it'll give our analysis by customer, but then I can break it down further. So for example, if I want to break this down by part, then both individually and any of the totals, then I can do so. If I want to see another of the figures broken down by sales rep, if there is a breakdown by sales rep, it will provide that breakdown. So we can quickly get to understand the meaning of each of the components of data. And once we're happy with that, we can output the data directly to Excel, to Word, to Outlook, to Printer, and use that data externally. Last but by no means least, there's also a couple of report generators inside of Priority that allow you to create your own reports. This is much more than just the ability to edit existing reports within the system. I'm creating a new one. You can create your own to match your requirements. In this case, all you need to do is specify which fields you want and drag and drop them into the report definition. Here I am adding the customer number, the customer name. Let's pick up a serial number, and then we will add the part description. And let's pick up the actual response time. And we might also put a calculated field in there. And let's complete the process of creating that our own report. So this is my service call report. And I might do the maths on the different columns, but let's just run it as is so that you can see the report. And at any point from there, you can then run it, and that will launch the report. And we will run it from the beginning of the year. And there's a very simple configured report.